"Give up your loft," Dad ordered at Thanksgiving. Mom agreed. I left without a word. Next day, the bank called about a $600K loan they expected me to pay. I laughed and hung up. I'm Emma Collins, 33, a marketing expert in Boston. I run campaigns for big brands, turning ideas into buzz. My office in the Seaport is a chaotic nook. Whiteboards scrawled with notes, a coffee mug with a lipstick stain, a view of the harbor that calms me down. My pride is my loft downtown, worth $800,000, bought with years of late nights and smart investments. Growing up in a Boston suburb, I was never the favorite. That was my brother, Noah, 35. He got cars, trips, endless second chances, while I got, "Emma, you'll figure it out." I built my life alone, thinking my family, Mom, Patricia, and Dad, Thomas, would respect it. Then, at a Thanksgiving dinner, they tried to take my home, and it broke something in me. But it also showed me what I'm made of. Noah was always the golden boy. Mom, 58, a retired bank teller, fussed over him like he was a prince. Dad, 60, a former electrician, called him our legacy. Noah's restaurant went bust, his startup flopped, but they bailed him out every time. Cash, loans, whatever he needed. Me? I paid for college at BU with barista shifts, built my career without a dime from them. My loft is my sanctuary. Exposed brick walls, high ceilings, a big window overlooking the Freedom Trail. I thought my hustle would make them see me. I was so wrong. Thanksgiving was at my parents' house in Dedham, a colonial with a sagging porch and a backyard full of fallen leaves. The air smelled of roasted turkey, the table crowded with pumpkins and flickering candles. I showed up with wine and a homemade pecan pie, $200 worth, hoping for a warm night. Noah lounged on the couch, smirking, his sneakers scuffed. Mom adjusted his napkin, Dad carved the turkey, barely nodding at me. I'd always helped them. $10,000 for their credit card debt, $5,000 for Mom's hospital bed after her surgery. Family, right? You give. Halfway through dinner, Dad stood, raising his glass. I thought it was a toast, maybe something cheesy about gratitude. Then he looked at me, his eyes hard. "Emma," he said, "your loft's too big for one person. Give it to Noah." My fork froze, mashed potatoes untouched. Give it? My home? "He needs stability," Dad went on, like it was obvious. "You're fine, you'll buy another." The room went quiet. The crackle of the fireplace louder than my heartbeat. Mom nodded, her smile tight. "It's the right thing, Emma. Noah's struggling." Struggling? Noah hadn't paid rent in years, crashing at their place. I gripped my napkin, my chest tight. "No," I said, my voice clearer than I felt. "My loft's mine. I earned it. It's not his." Whispers broke out around the table. Noah leaned back, smirking, his flannel untucked. "Come on, sis, you don't need all that space." Mom chimed in, "Don't be selfish, Emma. Noah's our future." Selfish? My face burned, not from shame, but fury. They weren't asking. They were demanding in front of Aunt Ellen, Cousin Jake, everyone. Ellen gasped, her wine glass trembling. Jake stared at his plate. I felt their eyes, judging, waiting. I stood, my chair scraping the hardwood. "I owe you nothing," I said, my voice low but shaking inside. I grabbed my coat, walked out, the November air sharp on my face. No one followed. Driving back to my loft, Boston's lights blurred through my windshield. My home, brick walls, a velvet couch, my collection of vintage records, felt like it was under siege. They wanted to take it for Noah. Their future. I'd given them so much. $8,000 for Dad's car loan, $300 monthly for their groceries. And now, they'd crossed a line. I sat on my couch, phone buzzing with their texts. "Think it over," Mom wrote. Noah sent, "Chill, sis." I didn't reply, my hands trembling. I called Lauren Brooks, my best friend since we bonded over bad coffee at BU. She answered, her voice fierce. "Emma, what's going on?" I spilled it. Thanksgiving, Dad's demand, Noah's smirk. My voice cracked, half angry, half hurt. "They're parasites," Lauren said, blunt. "Protect your loft, they'll try more." I checked my bank app, $400,000 in savings, safe. Their accounts I'd never touched. Lauren's words stuck. They'll try more. They thought I'd keep giving. They were wrong. I didn't sleep that night, the city's hum, sirens, bar chatter, keeping me restless. My loft felt alive, holding me. I was gutted, betrayed, but something stirred. I'd spent years trying to earn their respect. No more. I Googled financial lawyers, found one with solid reviews, booked a meeting. That dinner wasn't just a meal. It was a wake-up call. They demanded my home. I'd make them regret it. The next morning, my phone was chaos. Noah's Instagram post, a selfie leaning on a car captioned, "Big plans, big spaces, some people don't share." Comments poured in, "Go Noah!" "Patricia, he's a star." A star. He'd tanked every venture he touched. My loft, my sweat and triumph wasn't his. Aunt Ellen's like stung. She'd hugged me at dinner. Now? Nothing. I blocked the post, my hands shaking. Boston's skyline looked gray through my loft's window, snow flurries starting. They'd made me the bad guy for saying no. Mom called while I was at my office, drafting a campaign for a tech brand, my desk a mess of Post-its and Red Bull cans. I let it ring twice. "Emma," she said, her voice sharp, "we need $50,000. Noah's settling in." "Settling in? To my loft?" "I owe nothing," I snapped, spinning in my chair. "I paid your debts, $18,000. "I'm done," she scoffed. "You're selfish. Noah needs this." "Needs?" I'd bought Dad's truck, $12,000, sent groceries every month. "No," I said, firm. "Noah's your star. Let him shine." She gasped. "You're cruel." The call ended. Cruel? I'd been their bank, not their daughter. Rumors spread like wildfire. Aunt Ellen texted, "Why abandon Noah?" Cousin Luke called me stingy. Mom had spun it. I was the cold sister, hoarding my loft while Noah struggled. Struggled? He lived off their cash, rent-free. A client, Sophie Reed, gave me a look at a pitch meeting. "Heard about family drama. You okay?" My stomach twisted. Their lies were hitting my work, my name. I called Lauren, pacing my office, the harbor dull outside. "They're trying to ruin me," I said. She was fierce. "They're sharks, Emma. Get a lawyer. Lock down your money." I nodded, staring at my savings on my laptop. $400,000. Safe. "What if they push harder?" I asked. Lauren's voice was steel. "They will. Fight smart." I found Daniel Foster online, a financial lawyer with a rep for winning tough cases. We met at a cafe in Back Bay, snow flurrying outside, the smell of fresh scones grounding me. I laid it out. Thanksgiving, Dad's demand, Mom's $50,000 ask. Daniel's eyes narrowed, his coffee untouched. "Your loft's in your name. No family ties?" I nodded. "All mine, $800,000. My savings, $400,000 too." He grinned. "They've got no claim, but we'll dig deeper. They're desperate." He got to work. I called Mr. Hayes, my bank contact. "Any odd moves on my accounts?" I asked. He paused. "Your mom tried linking your savings to theirs yesterday." "My savings?" My heart raced. "Block her," I said. He did. They weren't just after my loft, they were after everything. Then it got worse. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered, wary. "Ms. Collins," a cold voice said, "your family's $600,000 loan is due. We expect payment." I blinked. "What loan?" The banker cited Noah's name, mine too. "You're listed as guarantor." I laughed, sharp. "Not my debt." I hung up, my pulse hammering. $600,000? They'd used me. Noah and Dad showed up at my loft that night, no warning. Noah in a flashy jacket, Dad in a worn coat, looking grim. "Emma," Noah said, holding papers, "sign over the loft, pay the loan." I stared, stunned, standing by my record player. "You're out of your mind." Dad stepped up, his voice heavy. "It's family duty. You owe us." Duty? I'd paid their mortgage, $15,000. "Get out," I said, my voice ice cold. They left, Noah muttering, Dad silent. Mom emailed that night. Subject, family obligation. She claimed I'd profited from their support, owed the loft and $600,000. threatened to sue for fraud. Fraud? I'd save them from bankruptcy. I sent it to Daniel. "They're bluffing," he said, "but we'll counter." My loft felt like a target, its brick walls closing in. They'd demanded my home at dinner. Now they wanted me to pay their debt. For Noah, their future. Daniel called a few days later, his voice electric. "Emma, we hit pay dirt." My pulse spiked. "What?" he explained. Noah had taken a $600,000 loan for a tech startup that crashed. He'd forged my name as guarantor, with Mom co-signing, emailing the bank. Emma's backing it. They'd bet on my credit. Daniel had proof. Loan documents, emails, bank records, a text from Noah to a buddy. "Emma's name's my ticket." I felt sick, my hands clenching. They hadn't just asked for my loft, they'd tried to chain me to their mess. I needed more. I called Uncle George, Mom's brother, the one relative who hadn't turned on me. We met at a diner in Southie, neon lights buzzing, coffee bitter. "Emma," he said, stirring his mug, "Noah's startup tanked. They're drowning in debt. They think you'll pay to save them." My jaw tightened. Pay? With my life? "Your mom's blind to Noah's failures," George sighed. "They're counting on you." I thanked him, my mind racing. Noah wasn't just spoiled, he was reckless, and they'd bet on me to fix it. I sat in my loft, Boston's skyline dark outside, the glow of my records soft. Lauren came over, bringing wine. "They're toast," she said, pouring a glass. "You've got evidence, burn them." I nodded, a mix of fear and fire. "I will, but it's got to hit hard." Daniel was prepping a lawsuit. I moved my $400,000 to a trust, untouchable. I planned a reconciliation dinner at a posh restaurant in Beacon Hill, gilded chandeliers, crisp linens, jazz drifting softly. I invited Mom, Dad, Noah, Aunt Ellen, Uncle George, a few cousins who'd bought their lies. The invite was warm. "Let's mend his family." They fell for it. Noah texted, "Nice one, sis." Mom called, "Emma, I'm so proud." Proud? I smirked. They thought I was folding. This wasn't peace, it was a reckoning. The dinner was set for 7 p.m. Noah swaggered in, his Rolex catching the chandelier light, all smug. Mom wore silk, fussing over him, her perfume sharp. Dad looked drained, his eyes hollow, his tie loose. Uncle George gave a wary nod. Aunt Ellen smiled, clueless, her pearls gleaming. Dinner was flawless. Scallops, vintage Pinot Noir, chatter filling the air. Noah bragged about new ventures. Mom gushed about his drive. I stayed quiet, picking at my plate, waiting. Dessert came. Lavender panna cotta, edible gold leaf. I stood, raising my glass. "Thanks for being here," I said, my voice steady despite the knot in my chest. After Thanksgiving, I learned something. Greed burns brighter than love. I hit a button and a projector lit the wall. Noah's smirk vanished. The first slide showed Noah's $600,000 loan, my name forged as guarantor, Mom's co-signature. A default notice due now. Next, emails. Mom to Noah. Emma won't check. A bank letter demanding payment. Noah's Instagram post mocking my selfishness. Mom's email claiming I owed the loft and debt. "This isn't family," I said, my voice sharp. "It's fraud. You demanded my home. Use my name for your debt." The room went silent. Aunt Ellen's spoon clinked. Uncle George's jaw tightened. I kept going. My savings, $400,000. My loft, $800,000, locked in a trust. "You'll never touch it," I said. Noah jumped up, face red. "This is fake," he shouted. Dad mumbled, "Emma, stop," but sank back. Mom's silk trembled. "You're destroying us." Destroying them? I pressed on. "One more," I said. A second loan notice. Noah had pledged family assets for another $200,000. Foreclosure loomed. "You gambled our name," I said, staring at Noah. "Now pay." Daniel stepped forward, papers in hand. "Emma owes nothing," he said, his voice firm. "We're suing Noah for fraud, seeking damages." Uncle George spoke up. "Noah, you're a shame." Aunt Ellen gasped. "Patricia, how could you?" Noah stormed out, cursing, his Rolex glinting. Dad stared at the table, broken. Mom sobbed, clutching her napkin. "Emma, why?" she whispered. I looked at her, calm. "You chose him. Live with it." The cousins sat, stunned. A few nodded, their eyes soft. I'd shattered their lies. The dinner ended, panna cotta untouched. I walked into Boston's snowy night, the cold sharp but freeing. I wasn't carrying their weight anymore. Days later, the bank moved in. Foreclosure hit. Noah's startup assets, gone. Dad called, his voice cracked. "Emma, help us." I laughed, cold. "Talk to Noah." 6 months later, my life's soaring. My marketing firm landed global brands, Nike, Apple. I've spoken at industry summits, called a trailblazer. Noah's reputation tanked. Creditors sued, and he vanished, dodging debt. Mom and Dad sold their Dedham house, scraping by in a small apartment. They mailed apologies. "We were wrong," Mom wrote. I didn't reply. They chose Noah at Thanksgiving. I chose myself at that dinner. I bought a new apartment in the North End, all sleek lines and big windows, with a view of the city's pulse. On the wall, I hung a photo of my loft. Brick walls, my victory. Not for nostalgia, but for what I survived. I posted it online. Family respects your worth, doesn't steal it. Messages flooded in. Clients, friends, people who'd been hurt like me. "You gave me strength," one wrote. Lauren threw a rooftop party with cheap wine and loud music. We danced, toasted to chosen family. Boston sparkled below, mine to claim. I don't hate them. They thought I'd crumble. I didn't. My loft was my heart, and they demanded it. That debt was their chain, and they kept it. When Daniel said, "Emma owes nothing," their world collapsed. Mine grew. I'm Emma Collins, free, crafting a life they'll never touch.